Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to our webinar this evening. My name is Benita Lettier, Director of Producer Education for the Nebraska Cattlemen. I'm really excited to be hosting this webinar tonight with Farm Rescue. Our speaker tonight is going to be Lynn Henriksen. Just a couple quick housekeeping items. If you have a question, you can type it in the Q&A box, and that is located at the bottom of your screen. Or if you would prefer, you can raise your hand, and you should be able to raise your hand again down from that at the bottom of your screen there where it says raise hand. So if you would like to ask a question, then I'll let you know that I've unmuted you, and then you can ask your question of Lynn. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Lynn, and we're going to get going with our webinar.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be able to speak to the cattlemen of Nebraska and be able to share the farm rescue story and what our organization is all about. Give you a little bit of background on myself. I started with Farm Rescue just less than 90 days ago. I was the former state director for USDA Rural Development here in Kansas, where our family resides and runs a registered Angus operation here at Westmoreland. We are just outside of Manhattan, Kansas. Prior to that, I worked in ag business development with the Kansas Department of Agriculture. So my ties to rural communities and the ag producers that reside in those communities, as well as the other residents, is what I'm really focused on. So when I had the opportunity to join this organization so I could continue the work of helping farmers and ranchers in our rural areas, it's exactly what I knew I wanted to do. So I'm excited to be here. Hopefully you won't hold it against me that I live outside of Manhattan and that my husband is actually a K-State Wildcat. But I probably lean towards Nebraska a little more, considering you all are in the Big Ten, because I did graduate from Michigan State University with my animal science degree and one in ag communications. So it's been a great combination to take into the ag industry and be able to be involved in organizations such as Farm Rescue. So as you can see, Farm Rescue is all about helping farm and ranch families that are in crisis. We are started by Bill Gross in 2005, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we are out there trying to find sponsors and donors to help us out so that we can help take our volunteers into communities and help the farmers and ranchers out there in crisis. And when we talk about a crisis, there's different things that may affect or impact a family operation. And so this is what we can do. If someone experiences an accident, an illness, or even a natural disaster that takes one or several of the members of the organization out of being able to help or do their daily work, that's where Farm Rescue can start in. We can come in and do the planting, haying, harvesting. We can haul the commodities to the elevators or to the grain bins, and we even help with livestock feeding. So with the combination of organizations and operations that we have in Nebraska, between farming and ranching, we can help you in most any of your daily needs. And that's what we are all about. So that's kind of the elevator speech of what we do. We want to be able to come in and be that, that extra hand that you all may need. Right now, we are in several states, 7 to be exact. I have a counterpart as a development officer up in Minnesota who oversees Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. And then I'm the development officer for Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, and hopefully in a year, we'll be bringing Illinois on board as well. So we've laid some groundwork out there. We've done numerous farm and ranch cases in all of these states. And again, ranging from coming in and doing row crop work to baling hay and even delivering hay to drought-stricken families, or as Nebraska is well aware, when the Spencer Dam broke, we brought in numerous loads of hay to help feed the livestock that was gathered up when the flood waters washed away equipment and feed sources. So who comes in and helps all of the farmers and ranchers out there? Well, this is where we go out and we recruit volunteers. That's part of my mission and goals, is to go out and find people that are willing to give of their time and service and help out their fellow farmers and ranchers. And it may not be in your own state. So a lot of the people that you see in these pictures here come from all over the country. We are actually in 49 states in the US. And people will give up their vacation time to come out. They are retired farmers and ranchers themselves. We have pastors from churches that come out. Really anyone that has a servant's heart, whether they know how to run equipment or not, we can find an area where they can be useful and help out a family in need. We have over 1,000 volunteers right now in our database. At any given time throughout the year, probably 300 of those are actively involved in farm cases. So we're always looking for volunteers, especially in these 7 states that are connected to within those states, just so that we can cut down on the travel expenses and bringing folks in to get there. The volunteers, a lot of times, will do their part. We have different opportunities to come in and help, and we really want people to be able to know that they're going to be taken care of by what we have been called the Angels in Blue. And you'll see from the color shirt that I'm wearing to what the volunteers are wearing, navy blue is our color with our logo on it. And we kind of swoop in and do our job, and then we swoop back out. So we're here to take care of people. So that's where the nickname or the catchphrase came, Angels in Blue. Again, we're always looking for volunteers. A lot of our equipment operators are retired implement or retired from an implement dealership, whether they were in service or sales. So they know the equipment inside and out. And we really want people to feel comfortable that our volunteers can come in there and be able to do a job and treat the equipment, treat the land, and treat the resources there like their own. That seems to be a big surprise, that we just come in and we act like it is our own, and we take care of it like we would, because we know this is someone's livelihood. We really want them to understand that we care and we want to do what's best for them. And one thing I always like to add when we talk about families in crisis, I always like to add in there that this is also inclusive of hired people that they have working for them. If someone may not be taken out of the operation because they're physically hurt themselves, or they've sustained an accident, but someone in their family has, and now they're having to split their time from their job of being, whatever they were doing on the farm or ranch operation, that now they have to take care of their family, run to doctor's appointments, or do something in that nature to take care of the person at home. And it's taking them away from the actual work on the farm or ranch. So we will come in some of those circumstances as well, to be able to help out the entire operation. So keep that in mind, that it's not specifically the family nucleus. It extends out to the hired folks that are working for the family as well. So what are we looking at as we move forward? Pretty much like I talked about, our goals are to recruit volunteers. We want to help more farm and ranch families by the end of this year. To give you some numbers that are going on, as we extend our help to more and more families, we need more and more volunteers. So as the volunteers travel to our areas, we'll send, we can designate where they need to go. But just to give you some idea of what numbers we're looking at, between helping with some of the feed resources and delivering hay to the drought-stricken areas, we are well over our 100 mark for this year alone. What that equates to since Farm Rescue started was we are now helping our 800th family actually this week up in North Dakota. We hit our 700th family last year. So with the 100 plus families that we'll be helping by the end of this year, we'll even go past the 800th family. And so this is the family that hit the 700th mark. They are from North Dakota, and they sustained an illness pretty much out of the blue through a different diagnosis. And they were able to come forward and ask that we also share their story. So I'm going to start a video. Hopefully y'all hear it.
My name is Joel Newman, 51 years old, living in rural Sawyer, North Dakota. We're about 20 miles outside of Minot. Married to my wife, Carmel, for over 29 years. I have 3 children, and I am involved in a joint venture arrangement with my brother, Jay. We grow corn, soybeans, wheat, and we've got a small beef herd of cows. I'm actually 4th generation Newman of farming here. In July of 2019, I was in for a regular checkup, and just through a blood test, it was determined that I had something that was wrong with my liver. It was really hard to pinpoint what that was. So it took basically a year worth of doctor visits and different procedures. They knew that there was a blockage in the bile duct. No one knew where it came from, why it was there. So on July 15th of 2020, I underwent a surgery in which they removed 60% of my liver to get rid of everything that showed disease. They have determined that it is a side effect of the autoimmune disease that I have. We are grateful that no cancer was ever found in this whole, we call it a journey. And what I have, they feel is curable through infusion treatments that will start probably in the next month. And we will adjust to the new normal and move forward in life from there. I was referred to as surgical oncologist at the University of Minnesota. And our first initial contact with that surgeon was June 29th. The farmer and me said, okay, this has to wait until freeze up. Corn has to be off, the field work has to be done. Let's visit about this maybe in the 1st of December, not that there's a perfect time. And he stressed very strongly that I don't think you have that much time, that we need to get on top of what this is. So shortly thereafter, through a connection and a friendship that my dad had with somebody who used to work with Farm Rescue, they suggested that we get on the ball and get our paperwork submitted to see if we would qualify. We did, and it took a great burden off to know that when we left on July 13th to go to the cities, I had a great peace that however it would come together, it would come together. It's extremely comforting to know that Farm Rescue is here with their equipment, their volunteer labor force to help us out. And I just had always thought, what a great organization, and what would prompt somebody to do such a thing. And here we are, we're in the midst of it. We've met several of the volunteers. It's amazing that they come from all over the United States. To know that whatever walk of life you came from, that you personally had some form of ties to a farm or something in your background to say, hey, I want to be a part of this, regardless of the miles that you drive or the days that you spend away from family. But beyond Farm Rescue, I can't say enough about the sponsorship that allows this to happen as a nonprofit that comes in to do what they do. I won't call it a moment of desperation, but I just knew I had no other option outside of hiring the Custom Harvest crew of some nature to come in. And I think your guys' track record, while we've known of Farm Rescue, you guys wouldn't have been doing it this long if you weren't doing a good job. So awesome, totally at peace that you guys coming in and doing your work. Don't hesitate, because I think we all know in life there's plenty enough stress to go around. Don't just add to it. Get online. There's a lot of good information on Farm Rescue's website. It's quite simple. Sometimes we just have to learn to be gracious to accept help. The gratitude from our family to yours is beyond what we can express in words. The simplest thing I can say is thank you. It's appreciated.
So I think Joel really stresses a lot of what we run into. Um, Farmers and ranchers are very independent. No one wants to be seen as being needy or wanting help. But we know that we can't do this alone. This is who we are. We all know that when you get together with your coffee buddies or playing cards on a Friday night, if we ever take that time to do that kind of thing, um, when you really get into the conversations and you start to share, you really understand that you're not alone out there. And that's probably the biggest thing that I can say that Farm Rescue can bring to the table, is that we are here to share in your journey and help you all get through it. One of the best statistics that I've learned in the short time that I've been with the organization is the farming families that allowed us to come in and help them are still in business 3 years down the road. And that's really huge when we see so many things, whatever crisis can affect a family, and sometimes they don't continue on. And so I always want people to understand that. Oops, sorry. Um, and that's what it's really about, is preserving the legacies that you all have built and being able to continue that. We just want them to be in business. And so this way we can continue to help more than 100 families a year. We want to be able to do that. And I'd like to share with you what I've observed just this week alone, and it's right here in Nebraska. I've been running up and down the road for the last couple of days over to Crab Orchard, where we have a family. Unfortunately, the dad of the operation passed away suddenly. Didn't know what they were going to do when it came harvest time. So a neighbor who actually cash rented their land to this family went and found the brother of the dad that passed away and said, I know about Farm Rescue. I really think you need to apply. And he did. And so we were able to rally our volunteers and our equipment and bring it in. So brought the combine down from North Dakota and the header, and the semi was brought in by another volunteer with the grain hopper. And we are going to be able to harvest 600 acres of soybeans for them right now. Now we know that in most instances, the neighbors want to step in and help out, and that's great. We had a neighbor brought his straight truck in for us today, and he was hauling as fast as we could get it loaded to the elevator. He was also driving the tractor and grain cart so that we could keep things running smoothly and loading both trucks and just keeping things coming out of the field. For me to be able to witness that, and this isn't the first case that I've been able to watch, but just seeing what we can do, it just makes you see what the purpose really should be in life as we extend our help, and again, a servant's heart to our neighbors. Now, if the neighbors, like I said, want to come in and help and they haven't organized, we'll work right alongside them as well. But we also know a lot of us have our own business to attend to. And when the injured parties' crops are ready, ours are probably ready. And, then how do you just decide, do you put your own business on hold to help someone out and all of that? Well, this way Farm Rescue can come in and actually help both volunteer, help the neighbor as well as the family experiencing the crisis. So if the neighbor makes a phone call or even fills out the paperwork for the family member, that's great. We'll analyze it and we'll get an answer out to them once we go through our vetting process, and then we'll be able to start the wheels in motion to get the equipment ready and get the volunteers on deck to be down there. So really it comes down to, if we can preserve that legacy and keep that family in operation, that's the other key component of what Farm Rescue does. And like I said, to be able to witness that firsthand, I spent 2 days up there watching neighbor after neighbor stop by. Today we had some other family friends brought lunch to the field for the workers so they could keep working. And it's just, again, it's neighbors helping neighbors, but it's everyone has their part. And that's why when we talk about the volunteers, even if you can't run equipment or don't know how, we can usually find something for you to do. It all comes together in the end. So we're excited that we are expanding down into Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa more in a more prominent way, because we have done a few things. Like I said, in 2019, we delivered hay to 40 plus families in Nebraska. But now we want to be able to really help out and see what the need is. So again, some pictures of families we've helped. You might see our trucks on the road. When you see our equipment's wrapped with our logo and our extended hand, so we can give these families a hand up, not a hand out. You see all the donors and sponsors on our vehicles when we go by. Again, without them, none of this is possible. But this is just a small sample of the families that we've been able to help over the last 15 years. So again, our 800th family was in North Dakota this week. And so they are helping them with harvest up there. And, we're going to push past that before the end of the year. So if anyone would like to become a farm rescuer, we'd love for you to sign up as a volunteer. You can go to our website, farmrescue.org. There's more information there. I give you the whole history of how we got started. One man's idea and dream, and it's grown to have a full staff. And like I said, over 1,000 volunteers that are willing to give up their time, whether it's vacation or they're in retirement, time with their family, or doing the things that they want to do so that they can give back to these communities that are in need. So we would love to have anyone come be a part of the team. It's what we're all about. So I want to thank you all for your time. And I'd love to entertain some questions now from the group.
Lynn, can you talk a little bit about how here in Nebraska we can help spread the word about farm rescue?
Great question, Benita. I've reached out, obviously, to this organization. I have talked to John Hansen with the Nebraska Farmers Union Group, and we are being listed as a resource through their farmers hotline. But really, it's taking it back into your communities and sharing this information with your neighbors. We are working with different states' farm bureaus in trying to partner with them, again, through their membership, and different organizations such as a cattlemen's group or any type of the commodity groups as well, state and national. One of the other partners we've secured here and started working with more prominently this last year is Agribility, where they may hear of a case if someone becomes physically challenged to be able to continue farming or ranching, and they can help them get equipment that they need. But they may also refer them to the farmer ranch family to farm rescue so that we can step in and possibly help get them over the hump, so to speak, if we need to come in and do the planting or harvesting, or again, the hay baling and even livestock feeding, if they need that while they get equipment or situated and are learning their new normal.
We had a question here. Can you talk about the vetting process?
Yes, there is an application that you can fill out on the website. And it will ask for some documentation to go along with whatever the need is. And then it goes through, we have a board of directors. Bill Gross, who's the CEO of the organization, and is also chair of the board. And through that group of board of directors, that usually they can turn something around in about 48 hours. So we try to keep things moving through the chain.
Again, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can type a question in the Q&A box and we'll get it to Lynn. I do want to remind everybody this webinar was recorded. It will be up on our website as a resource. So if you need to share this with any individuals that you think need to learn a little bit more about the farm rescue, please share that. I will send a link out to you tomorrow where you can find the webinar, and then you can share that as you wish. Jeff, I'm going to unmute you here.
How long do most of these projects take that you go in and help with? What's the length of the average stay?
Well, I was told for the 600 acres of beans that we're doing at Crab Orchard right now, because the fields are smaller and it will take time to move equipment from place to place. They should wrap it up by Saturday. We got a late start yesterday. Probably didn't start cutting until later in the afternoon, just because we were trying to the combine is brand new and we were trying to get it to get calibrated with the header on there. So it took us a little while doing it ourselves, but usually we have the support of one of the John Deere dealerships can come out and help us get started more quickly. But all in all, each one is different, just because we don't know. I mean, if it's a larger field and again, we're limited as to the number of acres we do for each family. We typically do up to 1,000. But it's again, depending on the availability of the equipment and where it's staged and getting it there and all of that. So each one is a unique situation, and we'll just make that determination, but we'll come in and get the work done as quickly as we can. Again, just depends on how it's all set up.
Is there a way that you can just donate, say, 3 days, or a definite amount of time that you can be a part of it?
Yes. We can call the volunteers that we know will be able to, everyone has kind of their list of go-tos. But all the volunteers have the right to say, no, sorry, this doesn't work in my schedule right now, or I can only come in for 3 days. I can't give up a week. And again, with that number of volunteers, we'll try to find a group that we can keep together and they all know they can all know their place and get it knocked out. But if that's not what we can do, then we'll transfer folks in and out as needed. And they're all, again, they're highly qualified. They understand what's going on. They can, jump right into the routine like they started it. So yes, you have that option as a volunteer that if all you can give us 3 days, then we'll take the 3 days.
And I'm just thinking of having other commitments or whatever that you're tied to, as far as if you're on a board or whatever that meets every 2 weeks, in the county, and you can't be gone, during that, but you'd be able to work the tail end of that week or something like that. That's where I was trying to get at, a picture
Sure.
in mind anyway.
Sure. I mean, it was just like me. I went up, Crab Orchard is about an hour and a half from my home. I drove up there yesterday. I helped transport people to there were like 3 different farmsteads for this family, and each one had a different piece of equipment or the fuel truck or something else there. So I basically chauffeured everyone to where they needed to go while they were getting the combine and the header set up. And the same thing. Then I came home, drove back up there today, and again help them whatever they needed for the hours that I could give myself. But our volunteers were the same. It's just like the neighbors coming in. If the neighbor wants to give just a few hours, that's what they'll do, and we'll just rotate everybody through the schedule in the mix, and we'll just get it all done.
Do you try to secure lodging or whatever if it's multiple days or an extended period? Or is that on our dime?
No, that is on Farm Rescue. And sometimes the volunteers will just say that they'll pick it up themselves. We don't ask them to do that. But no, those expenses are covered by Farm Rescue with our donors and our sponsors.
Okay, I just kind of being a devil's advocate and asking questions out there, I guess.
No, that's perfectly fine. We like to say this is at no cost to the farm family. Realistically,
Mhm.
what they have as far as like in planting, they already have their seed and their fertilizer and all that. We just secure the equipment and the volunteers to run it.
Good, that gives me a better understanding of, if I discuss it with somebody or whatever, I think it
Right.
covers the questions that I would be asked, and kind of try to stay ahead of before they ask you those questions, try to get a little bit so you act like you know what you're talking about.
Fully understand that too. And I'll add in there that, we'll come in with our equipment, but when they need to be refueled or something, like I said, we went and got the fuel truck with the tanker on it, brought it in, and, after the combine was running, we needed to fuel it up. And that was at the expense of the farm family, but it was just like if we were using their equipment, because we did use their tractor and grain cart. They offered that. And then we had another neighbor bring their straight truck in, but our semi was there with the hopper trailer on it. And we just, like I said, we treat it like our own.
Mhm. Sounds like a good operation. I think I've got enough knowledge that if I visit with somebody, I can speak intelligently of it anyway.
Well, that would be awesome. And there again, you'll have my contact information, so please feel free to share that with them. So if they think of questions later, be more than happy, for them to contact us directly. But no, this is what we want. We want you all to go back to your communities and spread the word. Let them know we're here. We're here to help. We want to keep them in business.
That's good. You have to tell Ron I said hi.
I will. Just behave yourself.
Are there any other questions for Lynn? If not, I want to thank Lynn for being a part of our webinar this evening, and he's also for Tim for joining us. Again, I will send a link out tomorrow for the webinar, and please share it with those that you think might need to know a little bit more about farm rescue.